All right, hey guys, this is Anthony Bandiero here, attorney and senior legal instructor for Blue Gold Law Enforcement Training, bringing another Search and Seizure show, and I am joined by my eminence, the esteemed colleague, Mr. Zach Miller. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, doing well, Anthony. Good to see you again.
Yep, and I have a glass of wine. What do you have? Anything? Do you have anything to
I
drink?
have a cup of hot tea at my
And
hotel.
is that? Oh, okay. Well, where are you at, by the way?
I'm in Dothan, Alabama, southeastern Alabama.
And what are you teaching?
Did my search and seizure workshop for 2 days and report writing tomorrow.
Oh, report writing. Awesome.
Mhm.
I don't know. Look, I love that class. I think it's because it's such a good it's just a good fit for what we actually try. It's not only teaching the case law, but it's trying to get these guys to articulate and win their cases in court too. They do the right thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun class too. It's a little different than the legal stuff. I enjoy it.
Yeah, good. I think that class its latest iteration is really popular. All right, Teresa, who is first? Jim. All right, Jim. So Jim, I'm gonna click something and you'll just say your microphone, and then that's all you got to do is put. Don't worry, there's no camera, there's nothing like that. Don't even worry about it. We can't see you. Nobody can. What's up, Jim?
Okay. Hey, good evening, guys. So my question is there too much search and seizure as long as you're going and getting, I guess, subpoenas? Because so I do financial crimes, and my boss, like a lot of times, uh, I'll want to get stuff like their computer records, their phones,
Mhm.
everything like that. And my boss is like, no, we have copy of the payment. We see that they didn't get their product or their service. And as long as we have that, that's enough. So I was wondering, is it more like a thing, I guess, in-house that they just don't want to do? Is there a thing like, okay, you already had the information that's going to prove it in court. You don't need
That's
it.
Jim. I got to tell you, that's a fantastic question. Just for context too, what state are you in?
Missouri.
Missouri. I
Yes.
love that. Mike Boone is moving to Missouri,
Yeah. Yeah.
Springfield.
Oh,
Um,
that's where I work.
oh, cool. Yeah, you're so good. Right. So Zach, I think this is a fantastic question. I think we've had similar questions in the past, but what's your take on this question?
It's so I mean, it sounds to me like we're asking like, when do we have enough evidence to prove the offense? I mean, you can never
Yeah,
have
and when is too much?
I mean, you can never have too much. I mean, there is something as such thing as cumulative evidence, where generally cumulative evidence is not admissible, but that's a decision for the prosecutor to make. Like, cumulative evidence is like it's just basically duplicative. We've already proven that. We don't need more evidence to prove that element. But you never know what evidence is going to end up being admissible or not admissible. So
Yeah.
there's no such thing as too much. But
Well,
I would definitely get the prosecutor involved in that discussion if you're like, do we really need this? Let the prosecutor make that call.
here's my view. My view is it comes down to really one. I think like essentially the way I look at it is it's not do we have enough? Do we have enough? That's there actually is a standard. The standard is, do we have enough evidence to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt? And if we do, and we feel good about that, then we should stop, because not only do you have the issues that Zach is talking, duplicative and but it's also a waste of resources. We have other people that need their crimes investigated and so forth. Also, I got to tell you, there is a movement, at least an underground movement by these tech companies and companies, and like that they're really getting a little frustrated with this is my view. I think this, and this is like, anyway, let me back up. They're getting a little frustrated, maybe, and perturbed by the vast amount of subpoenas, the vast amount of search warrants. And I do believe that's one of the reasons why Google shut down geofencing. Okay. Because they're just tired. It's just too much work, and they do charge for it. I mean, it's not like it's all free. So you're like, well, Anthony, they're still charging money. They do not make money off this. I mean, I think as a whole that they're probably losing money on responding to government requests. But the point, Jim, is that I think that I don't want to get the mentality of, some cops have the mentality of, well, PC, like once they get to PC, we're done. we need beyond reasonable doubt. So if you have that, then you should probably stop.
Okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. You're welcome. And do me a favor, Jim, email richard@bluetogold.com and say, hey, I was on the show last night. Okay? All right. In fact, all right, Teresa, who's next on deck? All right, you got it. All right, Dominic.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
I can. Hey, Dominic, how do you say your last name?
Viasica, very complicated. Common
It
spelling.
is. I would have gotten that. I mean, my name Bandiero people butcher all the time, and it's probably more straightforward than Viasica. And what
Yeah.
kind of name is that? What kind of name is that?
Sicilian.
Nice. All right. So what's your question, my friend? And what state are you in?
I'm in California, near the Bay Area. So first of all, thanks for having the course. Been attending your guys' courses for at least 2 to 3 years now. So
Awesome.
regarding search and seizure, there's been kind of some debates between field training officers and new people and even old school people. So regarding search and seizure, is there any case law to your guys' knowledge regarding searching for weapons and or ID for people being transported by the ambulance or being assisted by fire?
Mhm.
The reasoning I have heard is that they, meaning fire and EMS, need to be safe as they're transporting this individual to the hospital. However, I don't believe that's on legal grounds, as we deal with the legality of things here in California and elsewhere.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're saying that I'm sorry. Maybe you cut out. Are you saying that they're just being transported for medical reasons, or they're being committed?
No, not committed, just specifically legal for medical transport, like they're having ironic chest pain right before police contact and you need to get them to a hospital. You don't have any sort of detention or no custodial arrest or anything along those lines. You're
Yep,
doing it
got it.
strictly for the knowledge or for the safety of the ambulance people, the EMTs and paramedics, or for fire.
Yeah, and they and this there's no and obviously this case is where you have nothing specific to believe that they're armed and dangerous.
Correct, sir.
It's just to make the ambulance workers feel good, the EMTs feel good.
Correct, because we get that question a lot. Did you guys search them? And quite frankly, there's times where I say, no, I didn't. I don't have a legality to it. And then it's just an angry match. But do you
Yep,
guys know of
I
any
get it.
case law that kind of supports that or whatnot?
And Mike, do you have a link that I can look at real quick on that case? I guess there's an incident. Are you referring to something specific? Because Mike is saying that there's a KCMO. I don't know if that's Kansas City, probably Kansas City. That Kansas City had an issue about this. Are you aware of that, or no? This is you're just asking on your own.
Yeah, they had a medic that was shot and killed transporting a patient very recently. Very recently.
Yeah. Okay. Look, what do you think the answer is, Zach?
I don't have any cases off the top of my head, but if it's just a straight medical transport, nothing involuntary about it, I get the medic's concern, but I just don't see how you can search someone, whether it's for weapons or more intrusively for ID, just to satisfy the concerns of the medics. I mean, I get the concerns, but we also have a Fourth Amendment we have to contend with.
So at the end of the day, Zach, is it if we put hands on somebody and we are patting them down for weapons, is that a search under the Fourth Amendment?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
And based on the facts that Dominic said, do we have their consent?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it. Yeah, not without their permission. I mean, you have to
And
have
do we have a recognized exception?
not for medical transportation purposes. No, not for voluntary medical
Right.
transportation purposes. Yeah.
And we don't have a warrant, so we don't have crew. Yeah, look, Dominic, we can't, we're the government. We can't put hands on people just because whether a public or private ambulance wants us to. I mean, look, they can do whatever they want. I mean, that's right. I mean, if they want to make a policy that people that they're transporting in their rig, you know what they call it, what an ambulance is called in New York, by the way?
A bus?
Zach? Dominic got it. It's called a bus. If they want to, pat people down riding the bus, that's not our problem. Their legal counselor can give them that advice. Now, what do you think, Zach, that if we do have specific reason to believe that they could be armed and dangerous, or let's just say armed, I mean, they're getting, they're having a heart attack, or they're having some, trauma. We do have indication that they could be armed. Maybe we run them and have a concealed weapons permit. We saw something in their vehicle that indicates they have a weapon on them. Are you okay with us patting them down for those and just maybe securing the
Yeah.
firearm?
Yeah, so it's and our good friend Mike Brave he asked a question, is it private or government ambulance? I mean, if it's government, it's straight Fourth Amendment.
Yep.
If it's private ambulance, they can search them if they want to. Like you said, if that's their policy, but we can't do it for them. But it's okay, so they're being transported, let's say for medical treatment, and we do have this suspicion that they're armed and dangerous. I think you can justify a pat down then. I mean, they're interacting with the government.
Or even a private ambulance, or even a private ambulance, right?
Yeah. It's a legitimate purpose, and we have some reason to believe they're actually armed.
Yep.
I think
Look, I agree. I agree. I think that you don't know how people are going to react. They could have an adverse reaction to medicines. They could freak out about the IV. They could want to jump out of the rig. Look. At least we have a reason, and I would litigate that all day, Zach. I would say, look, it's in everybody's safety too. We're not trying to take their gun and we're not looking to penalize them. We're just looking to hold on to it so they can get their medical treatment while they're going through this this medical issue, right? I mean,
it's not based on,
it's a closed space. Go ahead.
and it's not based on pure speculation. We now have an articulable basis for a concern. So yeah, I think we're good on that.
Yeah. So Dominic, I don't have any cases that I can think of about this, voluntary. Hey, I just want to go take a ride, to the ambulance. We know that we just can't pat people down as a matter of routine. I obviously the Kansas City issue it sounds very tragic, but that doesn't change our rules. But I do have a lot of cases on involuntary transportation. I'm sorry, involuntary commitments. Not the same thing here, but at least we have a lot of cases that do uphold at least a pat down in those situations. So I think the courts recognize that being in a confined space like that, receiving medical treatment can be a danger to the workers. And we want to make sure they don't have any weapons if we have a reason that they are at least armed. Okay.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Man, Greg. And then thanks, Dominic. And then Teresa, if you can text Dominic how to get his free book. All right, who's next? What about that shot spotter case? You want to ask that question now that a couple of people have gone? And Brian, Brian is a triple cert. You know what that is, Zach?
What is it? ALS, BLS, and something else, or am I?
No. Triple cert is
Fire,
police,
medic.
Yeah, and yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Fire, police, medic. Yeah. So he works out, and he has the badge bunnies that go with him too. So the guy's a stud, man.
Got it all.
We got it all, man. I mean, he's a great cook. You got the badge bunnies, whatever. It's just, I hate him. I absolutely hate him. Okay, let me ask Tamara's question. So she doesn't have audio. That's fine, or microphone. So she was talking about basically, can we go into backyards, with a shot spotter, especially if a neighbor calls in, doesn't want to get involved. I wouldn't want to get involved either. Maybe some gang shootout. If I live in a bad neighborhood, and I don't want to get involved, man. They're shooting each other. What are they going to do to me, right? But hey, look, I think there's shots over there. It's also corroborate with the shot spotter. We arrive on scene. We can't dispel our suspicions that there's a dead person back there, or somebody, maybe even a shooter, whatever. Can we go into that backyard and clear it for people in people-sized places, Zach?
Yeah, I think so. We got the human source, and then corroboration by the shot spotter. And I don't have any personal experience working with the shot spotter, so I don't know how accurate it is as far as how precise.
Very accurate.
Okay,
it's
all right,
accurate.
So even better. All right, so I think with those two factors, we're talking about going onto the curtilage I think the emergency aid doctrine, I think, is going to get us there. I think we have the exigency, the particularized to that resident's exigency. I think we have enough.
Yeah. So, David, you got to come on and ask that question. If anything involving firearms, you see what I got here. This is, you got to talk about guns. So Zach, look, there are some, some shot spotter cases out there that I'm sure you've seen. But generally speaking, they are reliable,
Mhm.
and they're at least objective reason to believe that something bad has just happened. Of course, you want those other facts. It's kind of like a burglar alarm, right? Just because we got the call doesn't mean we just charge right in. And but when you arrive on scene, it's you can see people running or people acting weird about it. The shot spotter went off, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, instead of saying firecrackers or whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Um, who's next here? Josh. Oh, Josh. Josh. All right, Josh. Josh from Idaho.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Perfect. Mine's probably pretty simple, but again, I'm still kind of new. My very
Did you say you're on
first,
16 days on the job, by the way?
I'm about, yeah, 16 days in.
Off FTO? Or
No. So I
are
have
you,
9 more days of FTO.
wait, you're saying you've been on for 16 days and you only have 9 days left?
Yeah, and then I'm on my own in 9 days.
Okay, Josh, do you realize how crazy this sounds to people? You're saying
Yeah.
that you only have 25 days on the job. You're
Yep.
gonna be on your own after 25. My math might be off. Are you gonna be on your own after 25 days?
Yes, sir.
Oh my God.
It's a very small
God bless.
company, so I mean, I'm
Yeah.
learning as fast as I can, but
Dude, I'm glad you're
I
here, man, because we're here to help you. We're here to help you, man. We're
Hey, you're in the right
totally.
place.
well,
Yeah.
I had
All
my
right. What do
very
you got,
first
Josh?
search and seizure, and we were looking for teeth. So we
Teeth.
went inside
I
the
love
one
this.
room and we end up finding teeth inside there and bones. But as we came out, we found more bones outside of the room that we was allowed to search.
So what would you can't just give a story about dead people and bones without giving some context here. What kind of call what are we talking about here? Are we talking about a dead person call?
Yeah, somebody was decapitated and their head was used as a soccer ball.
Do you realize how entertaining this is right now? I mean, the whole thing is just crazy. The 25 days of FTO and
Yeah.
your first call for certain, you've only been on the job for a few days and you got a head as used as a soccer ball in the middle of nowhere, Idaho, dude.
All I was
This is
doing is holding the paperwork.
Manny. You work in a crazy, high crime area. Have you ever heard of a case like this? Okay, so please, Josh, keep going with this. Who are our suspects here, and why are they using this man's head as a soccer ball?
I don't remember the exact everything. I just remember that they end up finding bones inside the one room, not necessarily defined as teeth. I wasn't 100% sure, but
Okay.
I know that they were looking at other bones inside of another room. Is that something we need another warrant for?
All right. So you had a warrant for the original. I mean, look, your folks had a warrant for this murder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then while we're in there, we see evidence of a different crime. Is that kind of what the flavor is? Is what's going on here?
Kind of the same exact crime, but in a different room. But we only had jurisdiction for one room.
You only had PC for one room. This is like a flop house.
So basically, the person who admitted to it said that it was in this exact room inside this exact drawer.
I'm not sure you only have PC for that exact area. I think just because they say that doesn't mean that there's not PC for the other rest of the house. But because they could have. But look, I was. That's not the point of the conversation. So you see other evidence, the teeth and so forth, and the question is, can you keep searching for what? For evidence of
If
the
you
original.
saw something else, would
Okay.
you still be allowed to search? So we did find some bones inside the room that we were told to look in, but if we were to have found bones inside of another room or on the way into the house, could we have picked that up?
I see.
Would that be?
I see. Yeah. You're like you just ran into a Jeffrey Dahmer type of situation. Like he's only he says, hey, I'm only playing soccer with my ex-girlfriend, but he actually has a whole trope of heads. Then you realize he's pretty into soccer. You know what I mean? What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, so I mean, if there's a search warrant just for one room in the house, and then that is the only room you can search. Now, if you're making your way to that room and you have to pass through other areas of the house, then yeah, anything that's in plain view is subject to plain view and on the pathway to that room. Like you don't have to intrude in any other protected area. Then yeah, you can seize the items that are in plain view. But to go into other rooms and other parts of the house that would have to deviate from the walkway to that one room, you would need a search warrant or consent or some kind of exigency. Another
Yeah.
search. Or
Another search. So if so Zach, if you're saying if you're expanding the search, you need a piggyback.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
Hey, Josh, did we answer your question?
Yeah.
Can you
Because
do me a
I
favor?
figured that was the
Go ahead.
answer, but I wasn't sure.
No, look, all I got to tell you is I'm so glad you didn't feel like you had because you probably did have the answer, but I'm so glad you came on anyway because that's one of the wildest stories I've ever heard. The whole thing, man.
Yeah.
So I have a little connection with your little neck of the woods, by the way. So you live in Shoshone?
I technically live in Shoshone, but I work in Gooding.
Okay, let me just tell you my connection. So when I got out of law enforcement back in 2016, I wanted to keep my cert, okay? And because I had a Nevada cert, post cert, and I went to teach in somewhere in Idaho back in 2016, and the chief and an officer for Shoshone, they're like, man, dude, they're like, man, whatever the conversation came up, and it came up that they were like, hey, if you want to be like a reserve with us, pretty much we'll just make it as easy as possible for you, so you can be an Idaho police officer, but you can keep your cert. So far, you're following me what I'm saying, right?
Mhm.
Well, do you know what happened to Shoshone? do you know the scuttlebutt that happened a few years ago at Shoshone? They got basically shut down for some kind of corruption thing.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's my connection to Shoshone.
Gooding
In
kind of
fact,
took over Shoshone.
you guys took over Shoshone?
Basically, Gooding County took over Shoshone.
Yeah. So that was kind of embarrassing. I was like, I look, I didn't get wrapped up in anything. I mean, I only lasted for like a few months, but I was kind of like disappointed. I'm like, dude, this was like my easy way to keep my cert going forever. So I always have my cert. And thanks to their corruption, I lost my freaking cert. It expired after 3 years. Hey, is your cert still good? Zach, do you still have your cert current?
No, we can keep it for up to a year after we leave, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Well,
I'm
don't
not
go to
we call-
Shoshone.
No, I'm not.
Well, and technically about 9 days, I am going to be driving on my own, but there's always going to be someone in the office. So if I need somebody's help, I'll have somebody's help.
Yo, Josh, just do me one more favor. Okay, I'm gonna let you go, but do me one favor. Call me next week when you're the chief. Okay, and let's congratulate you on your
I'll be
promotion.
continuing to be the boot. Thank you, though.
All right, Josh, you're awesome. Thanks for coming on.
All right, thank you.
Dude, that is so wild. 25 days on FTO. Freaking, you gotta love Idaho, man. Kicking the guy's head around like a soccer ball. All right. Who's next here? Hold on. Where's Teresa? Teresa, remind me. I'm looking for this. I don't know why I can't find it. Help me, Teresa. I can't see it unless you see it, Zach. Okay, thank you. I got it, David.
Yeah, that's the gun question. Yeah,
Oh, is this the gun question?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You hear me?
We'll find out.
Hey, David, what state are you in?
I'm in Utah.
Okay.
It's kind of sort
Hey,
of.
you guys don't get as wild as those boys in Idaho.
Well, there's been a few things around here, but nothing that bad.
Yeah. On the first week of the job. Oh my God. Anyway, what you got, man?
So I have one issue, and if there's time for another issue, I'll ask. But if not, I'll call in another time. But in Utah, I'm seeing, like, especially at gun stores and gun shows, I'm seeing these dudes with like a decal they print on a label maker that says I don't consent to searches, and they put it over their serial number on their firearm.
Yep.
And they claim that makes it so LEOs have to manipulate the firearm to expose the number, making it an illegal search.
Yep. Well, making it a search. Not necessarily illegal. We're going to answer the question whether it's illegal, but making it a search. So now you have a Fourth Amendment issue.
Right. That's what I meant to go with.
No, I know what you meant. I'm just saying, like, just clarify the question.
I see. Okay.
So so let me just kind of tee this up. You stop me, okay, for speeding. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now this is an airsoft gun. Just for those who are crazy, gun safe people. Okay. Which is fine. Okay. So I got this, in my car, right? And I'm I'm pulled over for speeding. The cop wants to disarm me, which they can do, right? I mean, for the most part, right? I mean, that's dealer's choice on those issues. We can talk about that. And they take this gun back to their car. So far, this is in line. and the serial number has the sticker over it. Can they take off that sticker and run the gun? Now, there's no evidence that I'm a prohibited person. There's no evidence that I'm committing any gun crime. I'm not intoxicated while possessing a firearm. I am whatever, right? You can run my criminal history. There's nothing crazy on there that indicates that we have a problem here. There's no reason to believe the gun is stolen. Can we take off that sticker and run the serial number? Is that what we're asking?
Yes.
Okay, Zach, what do you think?
Well, I don't know of a case on this issue, but I have gotten this question before. And I think we might look to New York versus Class, which is a VIN case, that says, you know, so I'm lawfully in possession of this gun. Class says on a traffic stop where if the VIN is not visible from like the plate on the dashboard, it was reasonable for the officer to open the car to look for the VIN on the door frame there. And that brought into plain view, so I think it was a gun under the seat or something like that. The Supreme Court said it was reasonable because automobiles are heavily regulated by the government. These VINs are supposed to be displayed so they can be viewed. And I think we could take that same analogy and apply it to a gun. They're heavily regulated by the government. They're required to have serial numbers on them. Yes, it's a search. It would be a search of the gun to manipulate it to get to that serial number. But I think we could justify it under that analogy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree here. Okay. First of all, I think Class is a great case to try to defend this because it's really the only one that we can probably bring up that's relevant, at least at the Supreme Court level. But I don't think that Class applies here because it's not, guns are regulated, but they're not, it's not like automobiles. I mean, Zach, you were talking about this last week or whatever it was about, why we get away with so much with cars, right? Mm-hmm. We were talking about like looking with the phone into the tint and all this kind of stuff, right? But look, a Class there's laws in the books that says that the VINs have to be part of the vehicle and they have to be displayed, especially during a traffic stop. That's part of the mission, and that's also part of the mission of the traffic stop. But Zach, how is running this gun part of that mission?
It's not part of the mission because the mission is to do this interaction safely, but there's no reasonable expectation of privacy in the number itself and the information contained in the database.
What does that mean though? I mean, so I mean, what if there's a law that says that, all laptops, what else has serial numbers? Let's just say, what?
I mean, laptops, cell phones.
What about bicycles? Bicycles, I think there's a lot of laws about. There's some cities and so forth that say you actually have to register bicycles.
Yeah.
So look, the bike is on the bike rack, okay? And the bike has a foam, has protectors on it, whatever. Some like a little saddle, like a container, like a storage container.
Yeah.
Can the cop move and manipulate that bicycle to run that serial number on the bike to make sure it's not stolen?
Like on a traffic stop where the bike's like just mounted on the car.
How's that different? We can't do that. It has nothing to do with the traffic stop. It's not related.
I'm not really lawfully interacting with the bike in that case, but I'm lawfully in possession of this gun.
Okay. Let's say I'm trying to think of like you're lawfully holding something like a laptop. Somehow you're holding onto this laptop during a traffic stop. I'm not sure how this would work out, but do you think you can just as a matter of routine run that laptop serial number in a stolen database?
As long as I'm not extending the traffic stop.
Well, there we go. So I think that's actually probably that's the first thing I would do. Okay. I would say the low hanging fruit for a defense attorney is this extending a traffic stop? Because if it is, look, we have cases from the Ninth Circuit, at least. I know that the Ninth Circus, but there was a case involving running a person as a matter of routine to see if they comply with the felon registration requirements, which is like you have to update your address just to make sure that the address on their license is the same address on their felon registration. And the Ninth Circuit said, unless you have reason to believe they're violating that law, there's no reason to do it because it's unrelated. It's extending the traffic stop and so forth, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But that's not okay. But that's not the issue. The next issue. Okay. So we can agree that running a serial number itself is not related to the mission of the stop.
I agree.
But then we also Okay, but then we also agree that, but by manipulating, taking off that sticker, which I got to tell you, I mean, that sticker is worth a penny, 2 pennies, but it's their sticker. I mean, they put it on for a reason. They want that sticker on there to make some kind of political point. Okay, that's what it is. It's speech, really. It's political
Right.
speech.
Yeah.
We're going on there and we're ripping off their sticker because we want to run that VIN. That's a search. That's a search. That's manipulating with intent to grab information, or no? What do you think?
I agree. I agree.
Okay.
It's I think.
But then why do we get to search their stuff just because we have possession of it temporarily? I just don't see how we have that authority. In other words, I have these cases, Zach. Not cases, but I've seen out there taking off the flashlight, taking off the grip, the rubber grip, so you can see, because Rugers have their serial number on the grip. People don't do it intentionally, but I have cops like slipping off their. I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, it's not part of your mission. It's lawfully possessed, presumptively, unless you have other reasons. Why are we doing all this? Why are we messing with their stuff? And I just don't think it's I don't think it's lawful. I really don't. I don't think it's part of the mission, and I also think it usually extends the stop. But even if it doesn't, I think it's a search without crew. But you have class, which again, I don't think applies to guns, but I think it's a great argument.
I think it doesn't. It's about cars, but when we don't have a case on point, this, we look for something that's analogous, and we make our argument and let a judge make the call. I think we can make the argument. I don't know if we're going to win it.
What do you think, David? What do you think is the more persuasive argument to you? What do you think? What are you going to do out there?
You both make very good points, but I think I kind of side more with Anthony on that part of it.
Right. That maybe it's not, unless you have a reason, right? Unless you have a reason.
Yeah. And then I asked another local officer around here, and he said that he would arrest him for defacing the serial number on a firearm. I don't know.
What? First of all, there's a legal defacing is a term of art.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a term of art. Okay. If that was defacing, then you have a million Glock owners out there that put a flashlight under their gun, because that's where the serial number is for the old Glocks. The new ones have it on the barrel too, but that's not the serialized part. You have a million Glock owners out there defacing their firearm right now. That's bullshit. That's complete utter. That's a frivolous argument. We just because they do it, defacing their. I mean, what the person that the person who puts a windshield cover on their car for during the hot sun and covers their VIN, they're defacing their VIN too. That's ridiculous.
That makes sense.
Tell him. I was gonna make a
Oh,
joke.
I would not defend that one. You don't have to.
No, we can't defend that one.
No.
Okay. I mean, okay. What's the next question?
This is more of a personal one. Around here, in southern Utah, the fishing game likes to pull people over. A lot of times they'll just pull people over, like wave them over, and they'll see a rifle. Maybe they're hunting, maybe they're not. And they'll say, "Oh, well, let me let me check your firearm to see if it has a round loaded in the chamber." Yeah. And personally, one time I had a fish and game cop accidentally run me off the road in a snowstorm. And then she jumped out and she had no want to help me. She was more concerned with searching my gun to see. And I told her, I was like, "No, I'm not going to consent to a search." And she's like, "Well, you don't have a right. Hand me your gun." And so I don't know if that's legal. I just wanted your opinion on that part.
I think it's a great question. Zach, what's your take at that?
You talking about just like on a roadway? They
want to make sure that they're not violating, the loaded rifle regulations that a lot of states have to basically discourage shooting from cars, for hunting from cars.
Yes, that's what it is.
And they just pull you over just to check for your gun.
Let's talk about that, David. How are we even getting this traffic stop to begin with?
For instance, I came up on a checkpoint one day where they were checking hunters coming out, and I wasn't hunting big game. I was hunting coyotes, and I came out and I had an AR-15, and the lady Fish and Game demanded to see my weapon to see if I had one chambered. So I felt like that was a stop, even though she was stopping everybody.
She's doing like a hunting check.
Yes.
Well, look, we got to be a little careful with this. So the first thing is that we know that, generally speaking, that wildlife officers have authority to do suspicionless detentions and inspections for hunting and fishing related purposes, right?
Yes.
However, if we're doing a checkpoint from an area that other non-hunters can be involved in, like I go up to the lodge, or I go up because I want to do walking trails, I should not be stopped at all. Because you have to have a reason to believe, like I'm in camouflage with the orange vest or whatever, right? Or I'm coming from, you know, what I mean, the point is that you have to have a reason to believe I'm involved in activity. Zach, you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I just, yeah, this is
Is
wildly.
that our first problem, David? That we're stopping everybody and we have no particularized suspicion that we're doing basically a checkpoint, a hunting checkpoint. And now the area that you were coming from, could you think a wildlife officer could articulate that pretty much everybody coming from that area is involved in hunting? Yes or no?
I would say so. It was a big game hunt going on, and that's where they come out of.
Okay, well then I'm probably going to, I think that's, look, I don't, I think the court's going to be, I mean, that's important. I mean, you know, your people are probably not doing walking trails when people are out there hunting big game. I mean, I'm just assuming. I'm just saying. Like, I think the court may give you that it is a checkpoint, but it's a checkpoint where pretty much everybody you're capturing is involved in a regulated activity. But Zach has his doubts. What do you think, Zach?
If you're not, if you're only capturing people who are coming in that are hunting, then I guess we could sell the checkpoint as lawful. But
You definitely have to articulate, though. You
Yeah,
have to
but-
articulate, how are you not capturing the bird observer?
right, but the gun, I don't know.
The next thing is the gun. Okay.
Yeah, not
Let's
without
say
some suspicion.
let's say that we have a lawful stop. I think we're debatable here, but let's say we have a lawful stop. We see a rifle that's, you know, not in a case. It's just out, right? It's just kind of there loose. David?
Mhm.
Yes.
Man, I don't know, man. I think, I mean, look, there's two ways to get to that gun. One is like a protective sweep, right? What do you think about that, Zach? How about just
Yeah.
seizing under protective sweep and just calling it
Yeah.
and then
Lawful
that's
stop.
that's the way we get into opening it up.
Yeah, I guess we can sell that way. Yeah. I didn't think about
I
that.
mean, shit, the serial number, I gave you a hard time on that one, but at least this one, I think we can agree on that. You know, if you are going to disarm somebody during a traffic stop, the law is generally speaking in your favor.
Yeah.
But if we don't have that, then do we have PC that David's violating the law because he has a rifle in his car? Do we have PC that? Now you had AR-15. Was the magazine in the gun?
I never have it in when I drive now.
Well, of course. I mean, actually, that would be bad for you because you don't want to do that because that sends a signal that the gun's loaded.
Sure.
So David, here's where we're at on this. I think Zach will agree. Number one is the stop itself is suspect, but we may be okay. Number two is protect a sweep, maybe. But number three is based on you having an AR-15 that has no magazine in it. There's no PC that gun is loaded. In fact, there's evidence that the gun is not loaded because you're doing exactly what the law wants you to do, which is take the magazine out.
Yeah.
So I think that actually there's no PC, and that'd be unlawful search.
Can it fire a chambered round with no mag in it? I don't know the answer. I don't know that.
Yes, it can.
And David, just one more thing, and this is my view on it. This whole bullet round in the chamber thing is not under their regular. That's not what they're doing for regulations. They're looking for catches, for license, for how many fish you caught, how many, whatever they. You know, I'm not a hunter, but the point is, that whole loaded gun. That's just a regular Utah statute. That's just everybody has to. You know what I'm saying? Like that does not fall under suspicionless searches, in my view.
Okay.
It's not within their special purview of authority. So yeah.
Right. It's not, that part is not highly regulated. The gun itself is not the highly regulated activity. It's the hunting itself.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, cool. All right.
Make a big deal about it.
Call me and we'll sue her and we'll get you $1 million. You can retire in Idaho and kick a few balls around, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? I don't know what you'd like to do on your off time, but I would love to kick a few heads around with you. You know what I'm saying? On the big ranch in Idaho.
There you go. Actually, I'm getting moved to Idaho, so we're good.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Well, where in Idaho?
We're hoping Coeur d'Alene if we can find property.
Oh, my man. Be my neighbor, man. Be my neighbor.
Definitely.
All right. See you, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Hey,
All right.
so Mike Brave has got a Fourth Circuit case that's set from 21 that says a sticker would fall under the altering serial number federal violation.
Oh, God.
So,
That's why I hate having Mike here, man.
to the rescue.
I don't like him here. I'm probably gonna have to ban him just for. I mean, what's wrong? Look, no, actually, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm cool with it. Zach, I'm cool with it. Maybe not really cool, but I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
Right.
If you can prove one thing.
Intent. Like the intent to like
to obliterate, to obscure.
Yeah.
Right, Mike. Mike, can we agree with that case? There was some kind of intent to frustrate a legitimate law enforcement purpose, but just making a political speech, don't tread on me, don't search my serial number. That's not a crime. Okay, that's absolutely. I'm not going to buy that. That's criminal conduct. No, that is just making a statement. No.
Well,
No,
the Fourth
no.
Circuit has become one of the most liberal leaning circuits of the last several years. So
Yep, that's your circuit.
it is. It is.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Mike. All right. And Tamara says they should go to prison for 20 years. Okay. The law is the law. Okay. All right. What don't you understand about the facing a serial number? Don't get that P-touch machine out in my if this was Gooding, dude, you'd be done. You'd be done. If Josh is on the job, this is what he's gonna get on the 31st day.
That's
He's gonna send somebody to prison for putting a sticker on their gun. All right. We are done. We had a good day, Zach. I know it's 2 hours ahead, so it's your bedtime, and so you have a busy day tomorrow, guys. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here. Teresa, do me a favor. Put the links in there, and I want to see also where is this case that Brave sends? Is it in here?
It's a little bit up there. It's a pretty long quote. 9:44 is the time.
9:44. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, you're 9:44. I got you.
What's it? Yeah. I'm on Central Time.
Yeah, of course. I see it now. Okay.
Yep.
What a crazy, man. That's just a crazy case. Thanks, Mike, though. I do want to kind of record that. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Zach, do you have anything else to share before we leave?
Nope. Glad to be here. Happy to be here. Love to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks, Brave, for adding that case. I think that's at least it adds to the conversation. Okay, guys. Oh, Manny. Okay, hold on. We have to bring on Manny. Guys, hold on. Yeah. We do have a VIP. Manny, when he speaks, we listen. Hold on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So Manny.
Yeah. What's up, operator?
No, I'm not. I didn't make the team. I'm gonna try again though.
Oh, right. Okay, you let me down, but that's fine. You're more of an operator than I ever was, so that's fine. I still look up to you.
Listen, man,
down to you. Tall you are.
Brutal 3 weeks, but it was well worth it.
Yeah. What you got, brother?
John made a video. It is actually episode 833.
Okay.
Can officers enter a residence to serve an order of protection? And in that video, he says, "Oh man, it's been a little bit since I watched it. There was something in my head, but he pretty much was saying like, yeah, you can make entry into the house to serve a protective order." I'm like, I thought, but I remember asking you that a while back, and you said those are just civil paperwork. It doesn't authorize you to enter anybody's home, and I'm like,
well, that's the question, right? The question is, does that order by a judge contemplate, in the order to go into that person's home and serve it? And usually they do not, right? Let's see what number is it?
833. Well, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, man. I'm not trying to get John. I'm not trying to be on John's bad side, John.
Well, first of all, he's going to be on my bad side because this this may cost him. Okay, this may cost him.
But he did say something about like, I guess it depends, right? Maybe not, but like, what if it's like a domestic violence and husband are home, and we have to serve it on the husband and the wife's home,
Yeah, that's a little different story.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what he's referring to, but like just, or it's like a vacate order, like, hey, you gotta go, like right now, kind of thing.
He did put a case in, so in the chat or in the description, he put a case out of the Ninth Circuit. Let's just bring this up real quick. Let's see if this case answers the question. So he put in here Henderson versus City of Simi Valley. And so, oh, this is that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the daughter has an order to retrieve belongings. They held that the special needs exception to warrant requirement applied to warrantless entry as officers were acting beyond normal need for law enforcement, requiring officers to get a warrant and meet a probable cause requirement would be impractical. Government. But here's the deal, though. My issue here is that this case involved a judge saying that they can do what they just did. Hold on. I mean, it says it right here. It says that they went in pursuant to a court order obtained under California's Domestic Violence Prevention Act to retrieve belongings. So I'm assuming here that the judge authorized this. Okay, fine, no probable cause. Okay, whatever. Okay. I mean, I still want to know what the judge said. What do you think about this, Zach? Have you done research on this?
No, I'm trying to read through the case too.
It says a state judiciary has an interest in maintaining the integrity of its court orders by ensuring they are consistently followed. Okay. So it says the officer's intrusion into the house was limited to those particular areas where the entry was required to retrieve her property. So they merely stood by. Look, I'm fine with this because at the end of the day, it says they merely stood by to prevent a breach of the peace while the court order was implemented.
Yeah,
I mean, this is not a case of serving something. Just saying, hey, serve a temporary protective order on that person with no contemplation that the person that they're going to go into the home. The cops are going to go into the home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I might have to watch the video again I should have probably watched it before the webinar.
My position is this, okay? My position, just as a general, and let's see what Zach agrees or whatever, but disagrees. But my position is that in order to enter a home and say that we got in there with the big W, okay, and we want to be a winner, we need a court order that actually contemplated, I use that word contemplated because of Peyton, but that contemplated that we were going to enter the home. When a judge signs a temporary protective order and says, husband, you must not go near this victim, right? Let's just say that he's having problems with a coworker, okay? I'm sorry, I said husband. Let's just say ex-boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend, you cannot go by next to your ex-girlfriend, okay? Did that judge also in that order say that we can go into his house and serve that? Absolutely not. And no way can we go into this house and serve that because the judge did not authorize that. And now with the wife and the husband situation, that gets a little different because my viewpoint on it is, number one, you might actually have exigency. And number two, you might be able to actually serve it in a very technical way before actually entering the home. So for example, some states allow verbal service. So when you say, hey, you need to come out here and get served, and you have a temporary protective order, many states will look at that as that is the service. Therefore, he loses expectation of privacy. So we just call it that way. But anyway, so Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. No, there's some kind of implicit authority to enter the home, then or explicit by writing it on there. I just don't like this order saying stay away from this person.
Yep.
To go inside to give them that order.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm good here because Susan has an order, a court order, I guess, presumably to her, saying she's allowed to re-enter that home to get her belongings. She's absolutely allowed to, bring in some muscle,
Bring whoever she wants to bring in with.
Yeah,
right.
bring in Manny to, he wasn't good enough for SWAT. He wasn't good enough for SWAT, but he's still good enough for a civil standby. We can't take that away from him.
Oh man.
Hey, that was pretty cold. But that was, man, look, if he's saying it like that, that means he's taking it too serious. I'm sorry, Manny. Okay.
Nah, you good. Nah, it was
just trying to be funny over
it
here.
was a long 3 weeks, man. It was like 14-hour days. I'm like coming home.
You have to realize that I'm always jealous of. I'm always jealous. Look, you got my own mother involved now. Okay, she's telling me that I'm not being nice. The blue to gold mom over here is busting my chops. Okay. But the point is that I'm cool with the civil standby because the victim is lawfully present. We can obviously keep the peace. I'm cool with it. But all right, I'll watch the video too. Make sure hopefully that message is in line with the way I look at it too. All right.
That sounds good. I appreciate it. Thanks for staying.
Man, I'm glad you jumped on. All right, Manny. All right, my friend. I'll talk to you.
All right. Have a good night, gentlemen.
You too, brother.
You.
All right.
Later, Manny.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for everybody watching us online, on demand, and so forth. Share this with your friends. Hit the like button. It really does help us. Please subscribe to our social media. That will be in the description below, where you can sign up for other channels besides YouTube, like Instagram and so forth. Guys, thank you so much. This has actually been probably the most memorable. This has been the most memorable because of Josh. His story is still crazy, man.
I was not prepared for that. That was for
I was not prepared for that. All right, guys. Thank you so much and stay safe.
All right. Good night.